Okay, let's move this over here. Left jet. Pop out jet. I see a critter. Who's the critter? There's the critter. Maker Viking TK3D. Hello, who's been farting? No farting around here. I love that username. Oh, that's just great. It makes me giggle every time. Hello, 3DRCNC, Stephen Poole. Sorry for being a couple minutes late. I was hungry, so I made some breakfast. Like, I couldn't wait. I was hungry. That reminds me, I need to mask the keyway so people can't copy my key. Oh, I don't want to do that. There we go. That will work. It's actually kind of working. This is my latest version. That's my latest version, and it actually worked. I was able to unlock the door and turn on the engine. It still bends, but it didn't break. This is one instance where FDM actually works better than resin. Well, the nice thing about Who's Been Farting is that it kind of looks like a name. You know, I've been farting and I sheet my drawers. That looks like a pun. That looks like a troll. But Who's Been Farting? You could read that and really think it's a name until you think about it. It's hilarious. So I got a couple different, variations of the key, and I got the resin. The resin ones came out beautiful. I mean, obviously, I expect them to come out beautiful. Why is that scary? I mean, cutting or printing a plastic key is no different than cutting a metal key. You still have to have the original key. I mean, somebody can't just go online, type in some parameters, and print your key. They have to have access to your key. Basically, I had to take a high-resolution photograph of the key and use that as a trace-out in Photoshop to create an SVG file that I can then extrude into 3D Space and Tinkercad. That's actually the easy part. I expected that to work. These keys have enough tolerance built into them that as long as you get somewhat close, they'll work. The problem is always physical strength. You see, hang on, I'll show you what I mean. See, in the old days, the key wasn't torqued. Here we go. Exactly. You can't do anything without the original key. Where is the thingy? Come on, I need to see the thingy. Why won't you show me the thingy? brought it up before. And also, this type of key is unusually easy to duplicate. Oddly enough, it's harder to duplicate the original method. It's easier to duplicate 3D. I'll show you why on here. Good evening, Paul Steele. Now, why can't I find a picture of the ignition? I was able to bring it up before just by typing it in. Maybe if I just do Kia ignition? Yeah, that works. It's a Sorrento, but that's okay. So, the way this originally worked, like this is my Jeep. I used to have a '88 Jeep Cherokee. So as you can see, you stick the key in, but then you're not actually... they're doing pretty good. You know, the blood thinners seem to be doing their thing. She needs oxygen less and less. And, you know, I'm trying to make her walk more and more to build her stamina back up. So on an ignition like this, you stick the key in, but then you don't have to twist the key. You grab those two paddles, and you twist those paddles. Oddly enough, that would be fantastic for a 3D printed key. The problem is a current modern car has an ignition like this, where the torque is borne by the key itself. You actually have to twist the key to turn the ignition. And that's where the 3D print gets icky. Because what happens is you break the key. See how it's all twisted up? See how the key gets broken? This was because I used silk. And that's where it sticks into the car, and it twists, it literally twists the key. And it breaks the key. PLA actually works better. It's much stiffer. Silk is a bad choice. That just happens to be what was in the printer. Cool. And now that means that creates a problem where you don't want to use resin. Because resin is a homogeneous material. It doesn't have a preference of direction. And so what will happen is you will break this key off in the ignition, and then you're in trouble. Because as you can see, this will bend a lot. It's very, very bendy. And that's a problem because the key has to bear the torque. So as beautiful as the key is, I think I might have a way around it though. But see, I'm trying to find a way of doing it with just a 3D print. This here is a two-piece key. Can I get it apart? Maybe. There we go. So I print the key part and I print the fob part. Now the nice thing is you print off a couple of these fobs and just leave them lying around, and then all you gotta do is print this if you ever lose your key. This takes 10 minutes. It's a 10-minute print because it's only 15 layers thick. It's 3 millimeters thick. So this just inserts into this. And there you go. And that's a pretty good friction fit. I even got the logo on there. I got the Kia logo on there. Just why not, you know? That print's standing up like that. Petchy is softer. What I need is harder. Carbon fiber is a problem because carbon fiber compromises the material. All carbon fiber filaments are weaker than their non-carbon fiber equivalents, because the carbon fiber is creating voids in the plastic, and those voids are where the plastic will break. It's almost like if you poured a resin cast and ABS is too soft. I need more rigid. I need more rigid than PLA. So if you have a resin cast with an air bubble in it, well, that's where it's going to break. It's going to break where the air bubble is. Well, this will break where the carbon fiber shreds are inside the plastic. And the problem is, if it breaks inside the keyway, you're in trouble. One of the reasons I print the key flat like this, well, number one, it's easier to print that way. But number two is all the filament strands are going this way, which means it's never going to break in the keyway. It'll twist, it'll mangle. Where's that key? It'll twist, it'll mangle. I mean, I can twist this thing almost 180 degrees around, and it's not going to break. It's going to mangle, but it's not going to break, which means you never have to worry about that being stuck in your keyway. Nylon's too soft, although there are versions of nylon that are harder. The problem with nylon is normal printers can't print them. So one of my criteria is I want to use an Ender 3. Now there might be an option on that. Actually wood would probably work. A laser cutter would probably work. There are other issues with the laser cutter, but that could work. The problem with using the exotic materials is that you can't use a normal printer. Now, Esun does make a carbon fiber polycarbonate that is printable on an Ender 3. If you print it at 255 degrees and you slow down, so it takes me 13 minutes instead of 10, I'm okay with that. That might work. That might be stiff enough. And I successfully printed that on a Creality style printer. Hey, Ben. So now, one advantage of this particular car is the key. It uses this style of key. So the cool thing about this key is that it's just a metal shank. It's literally just a square of metal with a channel running down the middle. That makes it unusually strong. So this is very optimal. That's a deal breaker. So I can't afford to go buy another roll of that material. It's like $40. So I got to find my existing roll, but it's somewhere in my 700 rolls of plastic. So when I find that roll, I'm going to try printing out of that and see if that helps. But the issue is not strength. Strength is fine. All these plastics are strong enough. The issue is stiffness, rigidness. I need a plastic that's hard. So the plastic is like, even this PLA key will bend inside the keyway. Now, it's strong enough. It worked. But because of the bending, I would call it a limited use key. I would like to get to the semi-permanent part. It's never going to be as good as metal, but I'd like to get to the point where it's semi-permanent. I'd like to get to that point if I can. And someone else gave me an idea too that I would like to experiment with, not because it's related to this, but just because it would be fun. Casting one out of aluminum, that'd be fun. Just do a 2-part mold with casting sand, and try my hand at casting one of these out of aluminum. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I don't know if you can get that kind of fine detail. I don't know if that kind of fine detail would work. But that kind of a key makes it unusually easy to 3D print because I can generate a key blank. So as you can see here in Tinkercad, that's all it is. It's this 3mm solid shank and the two 3mm cutouts. So I can see the problem with any other key. I don't even have any other keys around to use to show you. But like a normal house key, I don't even have any house keys. I have all electronic locks. I hate keys, so first thing I did was find locks that don't even have keys. So if I want to use a regular key like this key, okay, I need to somehow build this key blank. Or find a model of that key blank that I can then cut. No, I'm not. Yeah, that's being covered up. That's why these little red chunks are in there. So you can't copy my bidding. and whenever I show it, that's why I cover the half of the key that has the bidding. Because with a good enough screen grab, you could duplicate a key from a picture. It's not that hard. And matter of fact, let me show you. Actually, I can show you how I did it. Car key. Hello, 3DHP. See, what I need is this. I need 3D models of existing keys. So let's see. If I want to copy a key, I need to find one that is face up. That might actually work. This one will definitely work. There we go. I can, and I could absolutely do that, but I'm trying not to. My objective is a 3D printed solution. Well, actually, Kias are kind of a problem out here. I mean, mine is a theft recovery. My key is a salvage title theft recovery, because Kias are unusually easy to steal. Kias and Hyundais are apparently very easy to steal. So they're actually what was it up in was it Oregon or Minnesota? A city is actually looking to sue the dealership because their cars are so damned easy to steal that 68% of stolen cars are Kias and Hyundais. Kids, like, we're talking 13-year-old kids tearing the steering column off and wiring these cars and taking off and joyriding with them. Apparently, it's a pretty big problem. I hate chips. Like, for example, my minivan requires a chip, and the first thing I did was tear apart one of the spare keys, rip the chip out of it, and I embedded the chip into the dashboard around the ignition so that any key would work. Well, any cut key. The key has to be cut, of course, but it wouldn't need a chip. So I wouldn't have to go pay someone $80 fucking for a copy of a chipped key. Or more. Let's see here. Photoshop. So the way I did this, you can actually see mine right here, which I'm not going to show you full size. Well, if a person has decided they're going to steal my car, the chip's not going to stop them. They have no way of knowing I bypassed the chip. I mean, they have no way of knowing I did that. So if they've already decided to steal my car, well, that's not going to change anything. Where is that picture I just downloaded? Oh, is it in downloads? It might be in downloads. Yes, it is. So, view. First, we don't need all that. That's a pretty rough picture. But it'll still serve our purpose. So you use the magnetic lasso, and you just, well, yeah, it's not working that well. This is a low resolution picture. You really need a high resolution picture. But you can see I'm using the magnetic lasso to trace out the key. Obviously, a higher quality picture would make a better result. So I would then take that. Yeah, too much pixel noise, exactly. But this is good enough for me to show you what I'm talking about. Then I would do this and do a fill. Get it all filled in nice and black. Edit, copy, edit, paste. Get rid of the background layer. I now have this file. Save as. We're going to save it as a JPEG. Actually, let's crop that first for efficiency. And we're going to call that a JPEG. Images copy. And then there is an SVG. You need to convert this into an SVG. So JPEG to SVG. This is convertio.co. We choose the file. We grab our black and white file and hit convert. Download. Save file. Now in Tinkercad, I go to import. And I grab my new SVG I just made. You can see it right there. What app is that, Ben? Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. So there is a 3D model of our key. Now, what I would do with this is I would actually make this real tall like that. I would then put a box around it like that. Make that taller. I would then use this as a cut tool, merge them, yeah, food poisoning can be scary, and there you go. I now have a cutting tool that I could use to make a key. So what I would do is I would need to find or make a 3D model of that key, of this key. So I'd need to figure out which style key this is and either find a 3D model of it. A JPEG's fine. As long as you have a high resolution picture to start with, JPEG's fine. Plus these programs don't accept bitmaps. Because you can see this picture is very tiny. I need to find a 3D model of this key, a key blank. So I need to find this. I need to find a 3D model key blank of the key. And or you got to sit there with a pair of calipers and make your own. But once you have your own key blank, you then bring that 3D model into Tinkercad. And then what you would do, like if we pretend that this is the key blank, you would then bring the 3D model into Tinkercad and use it as a cutting tool, and you would put it over top of your key blank and cut away the outside. And that's how you would make a normal key. As you can see, that's a bit of work because you got to find or make a model of the key, but it just so happens that this style key, where is it? I don't have it. But this style, the kind of key that this Kia uses, actually I do, this style key is just a 3mm by 7.5mm rectangle. So it's a whole lot easier to 3D model because I literally, all I have to do is bring in my bitting, make it 7.5mm wide, make it 1mm tall, and merge it with my 3mm blank. And that's it. So this model is actually 3 pieces. You have this top layer, this center layer, and you have this bottom layer. And this bottom layer is just the inverse of the top layer. So you just flip the top layer over 180 degrees, and then you merge all 3 together, and you have a key. So this type of key is a higher security key, but oddly enough, it's easier for us to dick with in 3D modeling software because it's just 3 rectangular layers, which is actually kind of cool. Now, I do have ideas for how I can fix the torque issue. It's not ideal because I would like to fix the issue in 3D printing. Now, I have made improvements to this model. You see I got all the sides smooth. I rounded off the channel here. I rounded off here. I got everything cleaned up and smoothed out so that the model itself will be as strong as possible. I also print this model outside inside so that you get that continuous outside perimeter and then it fills in the inside. That makes it a little bit stronger. Obviously, it's 100% infill. Well, 90% infill, close enough to 100%. The only place where you're going to have infill is the 3mm chunk in the middle because everything else, there's not enough room for infill. It's going to be solid no matter what. But, yeah, that worked. And then this key, somebody had a Honda key on Thingiverse. I just stole it and modified it for my use. I filled it in, and it used to look more like that. Now here's the ideas I have. There's 2 things I can do if I truly can't get a 3D print to work. One, I can use an insert. So you see there's a little insert right here. Well, that's a little piece of 1mm brass, and let me show you that. Here we go. This stuff should be here today. I was hoping it would be here in time for the stream, but it got delayed for some reason. But what can you do? So I got these little brass inserts. These are 16mm wide, or long, by 7mm wide, which means they'll fit in the profile of the key. Now the idea is I would have this little cutout, and I would, a little bit of CA, drop a brass insert on each side, and now the torque point, the point that interfaces with the ignition or the door lock, would have that brass insert partially inside of it. So the brass would take the load instead of the plastic taking the load. Yeah, well, yeah, an injection molded key is going to be quite a bit stronger. And they have broken. People have broken them inside the keyway. But this does work. If I can make it just a little bit stronger, just a little bit, it's so close. It's so close to being strong enough. And I also can do this. I could have a channel, a 1mm channel, run up alongside each side of the key and right up through the head of the key. You see the hole continues through the head of the key. And I could glue 2 1mm carbon fiber rods in there. That would also help take the load. That would be especially good for resin prints because it would stop the resin print from breaking off inside the keyway. Same with the brass insert. But I'm still going to keep trying to see if I can get it to work without an insert. Now, I did find out 35mm of the key goes inside the keyway. Now, you'll notice everything here is 10x. Yeah, I know. That's why I didn't flip it all the way around. I do everything 10x. So this is all 10 times actual size. So when I export these and I bring them into the slicer, I reduce them to 10%. So this needs to be 7.5mm wide. So the model is 75mm wide. It needs to be 3mm thick. I think it's 3mm. Yeah, so it's 30mm thick in Tinkercad. I do everything at 10x. It makes it so much easier to work on. Let me tell you, you try working on a 7.5mm wide object in Tinkercad, it sucks. Don't do it. It sucks. So now the idea here is this, align, freeze this in place, align this. There we go. Now, there. So there is my torque interface. So right there is the interface. So this red portion will be inside the keyway, and this non-red portion will be outside the keyway. What I can then do is now I know exactly where to place this. I think it's still processing. Yeah, it's still processing. Oh, I didn't want to do that. That was bad. I hit the back button instead of the undo button. Oh, now I don't have an undo anymore. That's okay. Just gotta wait for it to finish rendering the models. Oh, hi, baby. You're hungry, aren't you? Yeah, she hasn't fed you. Come on, Tinkercad, render the models. Yeah, thinking cat. It might actually be crashed for it to be taking this long. just in case it doesn't load up my blocks. There we go. Yeah, it was just crashed. So now what I can do is create a work plane right here. Bring this to 0. And now I can put this in here in such a way that it will interface the car and the key head. Now, how much of this went into here? Where's the other one at? Because I marked how far it went into the key. That's how far it went into the key. So it goes into the this goes into about here. So I think I can knock off like 5 millimeters off of this. Damn, is it windy? That wind is just amazing. Like it's actually making the carport bounce up and down from the wind passing over it. So how do I want to do this? That's about where I want that. Actually, I probably want the fattest part right about there. Yeah, I probably want the fattest part there. Probably line it up at the end of that. Yeah. So let's do this. Align, freeze this. Align centered. Hi. Yeah, she's coming. She's gonna feed you. Yeah, for real, the wind is crazy. It's like really crazy. Alright, so that's in the right spot. Let's disassemble this. Oh, I don't think I wanted to do that. Oh, that was just cleaning up the bottom. I think it'd be easier if I just modify it. Okay, Control D. So let's chop off a hunk of this. Oh yeah, that's real good. Expose it. Good job. Too windy for a kite. Way too windy for a kite. So now what I can do is chop off a chunk of this. Oh, too much, I think. Good morning, Stanley. Bring this down to 0. And then bring it in to an overlap, which will make it shorter. Excuse me. There we go. Join with that. There. Now it's shorter. And now I can join it with this. So now it's a little bit shorter. And now I have a cutout for the insert. Obviously, I can't print this until I get the inserts and verify my approximation is the right size. Oh, if you can make a wingsuit that'll lift 450 pounds, that'd be impressive. So now I don't need this anymore. I might as well leave it in here as a guide. So there we go. Now the keyway is correct. And this will act as a torque interface. I just got to glue it in there. I'd still prefer to figure out a way not to glue it in there. Although I can still just print the key and use it. It's just a temporary use key. And I can make the insert ones a little more permanent. Oh yeah, pretty cool. Now I can bring this over here. And I could bring this over here. Now, can I adjust this? These red inserts here are so you can't make a copy of my key from the picture on the screen. And this red insert here is a guide telling me, because I know the key will go into the ignition 35 millimeters. So that's 350 millimeters. That's the length. This portion of the key will be inside the car, and this portion of the key will be outside the car. So I can make the key the correct length. Thankfully, we don't get a whole lot of that around here. Come on, break apart. Oh, for Christ's sake. Let's hide this. It's in my way. Finally. There we go. I still see a second one there. Why do I have two there? So all this can be merged. Okay. Now I want to grab, actually I can just grab this and slide this in to there. Let's give it a little bit more slack there. Nothing sticks out the back? Nope. Okay. Now I should be able to merge these. Because if you actually lose the key, like you don't have a key to copy, you're looking at $108. That cost me $108. Just this key, just this little key, $108. That's why. Oh, really? We definitely don't want it to be that color. I took a picture of the key and I traced it out in Photoshop, created an SVG file that I then imported into Tinkercad. I then reconstructed the base shape of the key and used the SVG file to create the bitting. So yeah, kind of scanned it. So I literally just took my phone and took a picture of the key. So there, that one's actually pretty good. Now let's bring back my little insert here. Now, I can stick the insert partially into the key, I think. Like that. Now, ideally, you want to use two, so you want this insert on the other side as well. This way, the brass takes up the load instead of the plastic taking the load. But that would allow you to make a nearly permanent key. I'm going to join this, but I'll have to obviously tweak it later. Yes, I know. You're hungry. There. So now what I'll do is I will stick that little brass thing inside there and glue it in there, and that will create my my torque interface, so that the plastic doesn't have to absorb the torque. That one I can resin print. This one I would have to actually, that might work too. But I like the idea of making a one-piece key on the resin printer. I just like the idea of being able to make a one-piece key. Hey, Michelle! Michelle! I don't have Messenger on this phone. Derp. I never installed Messenger. Well, we got our booster shots yesterday, and I got my flu shot too. Michelle already got her flu shot. And so that's taken care of. And then today's stream, and then tomorrow's her pain doctor, and then Friday I take my car to the dealership and hope they find something wrong with it, because my range has been cut in half. So something's wrong. Come on, I don't want you to do all this bullshit. I just want you to work. Why is she unavailable on Messenger? Oh, because that's the wrong account. That's why. Why isn't she showing up on here? Hello, Timothy. No, her name's just not showing up on here for some reason. Just the fake account someone created using her name is showing up there, but not her actual account. Well, I guess I gotta go knock on her door. I'll be right back. Gotta get my lazy butt up and go knock on her door. Hey, come on. Cats are hungry.
He pulled the tubing through the door. He's got a hold of a piece of it underneath the door. It's all out in the hallway. What? What do you mean? The tubing's in the oxygen tube, Cal. I don't fucking know. Yeah, come on. Get up. Looks like you might want to turn it up to 72. Go take care of it when you get up. Let's go. Cats are hungry.
They're losing their shit out here, both of them. Yeah, they're like running all over the place. They're starving. Huh? Yeah, jumping all over everything. They are very hungry. I finally managed to get all of the food brought inside, so now I no longer have a freeze risk. Nice. But yeah, so this does actually work. I am able to unlock the door, and I am able to start the car. You know, obviously I don't just go like that. You know, I turn it nice and gently and give it a squeeze, make sure it's turning without breaking. And this should allow me to make a semi-permanent key. So I think the carbon rods are going to be a pain in the ass, but I think the brass inserts will work really well, because that will allow basically it'll allow, the brass will be able to absorb the torque instead of the plastic absorbing the torque. And maybe I can get away with one. Maybe I only need one brass insert. I don't know. I'll have to try it. Because if I can get away with one, that's a lot of keys I can make. I couldn't find any. Does anybody know where I can find any good models of key heads? I can't find any good key head models. You know, the this part. You know, the actual head of the key. That one's pretty close. That's the only one I could find. It was a Honda, old Honda key fob. It was actually made to be an enclosure. So inside of here was all hollow, and you'd have two halves, and you'd stick it around the key. Well, I just filled it in and made it into a solid head. And then I did the same SVG trick to grab the Kia logo, and it looks real deep on here because it's 10 millimeters deep. But remember, when I shrink the key 10%, it's only going to be 1 millimeter deep once you actually print it. There it is. And this is one of the few times where the FDM PLA was actually superior to resin. I mean, the resin key is obviously cleaner and beautiful. I mean, it looks absolutely gorgeous. But I could do the heads in resin, so I can have a really nice, pretty head, and then just print the actual key blank, the shaft. You know, just print this in resin and print this in PLA. You know, I could do a whole platen of these and just leave them lying around. And so now I want to do the rest of my keys. You know, see what kinds of keys I can do. The problem is, how do I find the key? Like, you know how you can go to McMaster-Carr and they have 3D models of all of their... Well, I wonder. 3D models key blanks. No, the tough resin would make it worse. The problem is it's too flexible. I need less flexible. So I'm thinking about trying Soraya Blue, and I'm thinking about trying Onyx. But the problem is too flexible. I need less flexible. So I need something like this. I need blanks of keys. Okay, so here's some different keys. Weisner. So here's some different keys. So the common household keys are going to be Quickset and Schlage. TPU is too flexible. I need less flexible. So here's your Quickset key. Nice. So see this? See what I mean? See how this has got the shape you need? It's got all the it's got the profile. That's the word, profile. Oh, so there's a Quickset key. So now I can make any Quickset key, although I don't have any Quickset locks. SCHLAGE. I think that's how you spell it. That looks like it, because that's a Schlage. So now we got that. But how in the world would how would I find a blank of my bus key? How would you even look for that? Do I have any other keys in here? Nope. No keys in there. I would want to find keys for like all my padlocks and stuff like that, so that if I lost a key, I can make a key. See, the nice thing about 3D printing a key is even if you can't use the key, you can use it to make another key. You can use it as a guide to make an additional key. Oh, interesting. Now, see, this is cool. This is really cool. So that's what these are for. These decoders. So a lot of people don't realize that keys are pretty standardized. That's why they were able to contact the dealership with my VIN number, get a code, and they punched that code into their little key making machine, and it was able to make me a key from that code. The reason that's able to work is because keys are standardized. So think of it as think of the key as less a custom bidding and more a generic set of bidding that uses a combination. So your key might be a 13356, and the 13356 determines how deep the cut is. And so you could use something like this to decode. See here what the guy's doing there? You can use that to decode what the bidding of your key is. Why would locksmiths refuse to take a 3D printed key as a master? Because they want you to pay the $108 for the fucking key to order it from the dealership. Yeah, so they're criminals. So they're crooks. Chevy B7000 key blank. guess I need 3D model. No. It's a standard commercial frame. It's a B7000. I don't even know if that's what the key looks like. That's Silverado. It looks an awful lot like this. It looks an awful lot like a standard GM key, like my Jeep would use. Really? You can see the bus from 40? I never actually tried to look. I'll have to try and see if I can see it next time. There's no logical reason for a locksmith to refuse to take a 3D printed key as a master. Because if I have a 3D printed key, that means I had a metal key at some point, because that's the only way you can make a 3D printed key. Yes, there are keys that say do not duplicate, you know, for office buildings and stuff like that. Like your keys for your mailbox and stuff like that, you usually can't get them duplicated. At least, well, most locksmiths should refuse to duplicate them. And that's part of why I want to make the 3D printed key usable. If I can make the 3D printed key usable, I don't need a locksmith anymore. Frontage Road, cool. So, let me... So that means you are somewhere along here. So this is Interstate 40 and this is Edgewood. Of course, our Walmart just got burned, although I think it's open again partially. There's our Walmart. Well, you can 3D print the housing, but you can't 3D print the radio. Cool. Yeah, that's something. It looked like the same key as my Jeep took. So it probably is. Let's look that up. GM key 3D model. I bet you, because that's such a common key. The problem is it's old. There, oh, there it is. That looks like it. That might be it right there. I want to load this one. Visit. Where is it? It's not here. Let's do GM. No, that's from Poland. That's a modern key. Okay, so you live up here. So you live somewhere up here? Look on GrabCAD. What am I supposed to get on GrabCAD? Am I on the wrong site? You got it, TK. You have a great day. See, that right there looks like the key, but I can't seem to find that key. That right there looks like the key. But when I actually go to the site, it's not there. It's not a Gerda. Maybe I just gotta keep searching. See, this right? That looks like it's it right there. At least it's a similar style. But I don't know if that's the actual shape. I don't know if that's the actual shape. I'll have to compare it to the bus key. Key blanks, Nissan? I'm trying to remember what my Quest key looks like. I don't remember what it looks like. It's not a modern security key, I don't think. It's a regular key. Ha! Autobot key cover, I like that. Okay, so it's that type of key right there. So a flat with a channel. So say what type it is? Wanna bet? It'll work on mine. See, these are the modern keys, which I don't need. Man, that wind is incredible. Jeez. It just hasn't let up. Volkswagen keys. I don't need Volkswagen keys. What did I go to the right site? What's GrabCAD? I went to GrabCAD and I didn't see a repository of models. Who are you talking to, weirdo?
I was on the phone texting.
Well, come on. Come feed the kitties.
Why are you calling me a weirdo?
Because you are a weirdo.
Because I was on my phone?
No, you're just a weirdo.
I'm coming back in here
Feed the kitties.
after I feed the kitties.
Kitties are hungry.
I'm coming. I didn't say I wouldn't feed them.
GrabCAD.
Baboon.
Community. Here we go. Oh, library. Okay, here we go. Wow, that was not easy. That was not obvious where that was. Oh my God, does someone have a whole roller bed? Yes, they do. Look at that. I actually have 2 big giant metal ones like that. I got them for the CR30. GM key. That is not what I want. Nissan key. Not what I want. Although I kind of dig that. That's kind of cool. I just heard a radio. I didn't know I still have one plugged in. Oh, I do. Okay. Let's get you charged up. Hi, baby. I found these radios that are so close to perfect. It's it's like $50 for a set of 4 of them. But the cool thing is that it's USB-C charging. So it uses a USB-C port to charge, and it's an 18650 cell inside. So standard batteries, standard charging part. The only thing that sucks is that they're basic radios, so no real controls, you know, no screen, no nothing like that. You just gotta listen when you change the channels. Nothing. No reply from them whatsoever. So no rhyme or reason, just. Hang on. What are you gonna do? I mean, it's their site. I get that, but at least tell me why, you know? That's what gets me, is the not knowing why. Just. Okay, that's not it. That's not it. Where are they?
Stop.
They may have stopped selling them. Because these are not USB-C. Those use a built-in battery, and those use... Yeah, I actually got the radios by accident. They listed them as USB-C. They're not. They're micro USB. And then they sent me a completely different radios, but I actually preferred the completely different radios. So let me see if I can find the different ones. There they are. I'm pretty sure that's it right there. Yep. It is not a 3000 milliamp battery. That's physically impossible. There are no 3000 milliamp batteries that do this. You can get an 8-pack for 109 or a 4-pack for 60. Very simple. They don't have any kind of controls. You can't do privacy settings. There's no display. When you change channels, it tells you what channel it's on audibly. Why is that not working? It's too dead to turn on. But when you change channels, it says channel 1, channel 2, channel 3. But USB-C charging and 18650 battery cell means in 10 years I'll still be able to use these radios. That's cool. Anything with a built-in battery, in 2 or 3 years, it's done. Well, maybe 3 to 5 years, depending. But for sure, anything 10 years old with a built-in battery is not going to work anymore. Thingiverse has been having a few problems lately. It's back-end problems. So I would assume whatever is affecting the other issues is also affecting that. You'll notice sometimes you get a 404 when you try to download something. It's because when you download something off Thingiverse, what you're downloading doesn't exist. It actually real-time generates a zip file that you download. The user didn't upload that zip file. Thingiverse servers make that file. And so when the back-end part doesn't work, oh, and there's a 5% coupon on that too. So if you also use your Amazon card, you'll get 10% off on that. Because you'll get 5% with the coupon and 5% with your cash back. Matter of fact, let me check that. I want to check my OLO card, make sure I got my cash back. Man, that wind is crazy. Yes, electric cars as well. Why is... What? Oh yeah, electric bill just went through. Yeah, so here's the cash back I got from the last year, $677. That pays my property taxes, which is right there. That was my Santa Fe County property taxes. So that's nice. My car, something's wrong with it. The I'm only able to go about 45, 50 miles now, which really sucks. 'Cause that basically means I can't go to Albuquerque. Because if I go to Albuquerque, I have to charge up to make it home. Sure. Add. But so I think some of the cells in the battery are going bad, and the BMS is cutting those cells out to prevent, causing damage, which lowers the overall voltage, pack voltage. Cool. Ooh, do I have 2 coupons? That looks like a coupon. I never did get that $10 coupon. I'll have to scan that again. Nice. There are rumors going around. Alright, so government uses taxes to create incentives, and that's a totally logical thing to do, and I don't disagree with that, as long as they're done right. For example, there's a federal tax credit that gets you like 30% off on solar. So if you install solar, you can get a tax rebate. Now, that rebate is not refundable, but it is amortizable. So, for example, if I get, obviously I can't, but if I get a $21,000 solar system, I can get $7,000 back from the federal government. Now, the way that works is I don't actually get $7,000 back. I get a reduction on my taxes of $7,000. So, for example, if I owe $1,000 in taxes, I could use that credit toward that taxes, and now I would owe zero. Now, the thing is, you can carry over to the next year. So, if I owe $1,000 in taxes, I take $1,000 off. Next year, I owe $1,000 taxes, I take $1,000 off. And I can keep doing that. I can keep amortizing this taxes over the years until I get my full $7,000, which makes sense. You want to encourage people to do that. Although, if you heard what California's doing, ouch. Talk about a mace up the ass. Well, there's an electric car rebate, a $7,500 electric vehicle rebate. The problem is it's a rich person's coupon code. It's poor people need not apply because it is non-refundable, meaning you have to owe that much in taxes to collect it. So to collect a $7,500 rebate, you have to owe $7,500 in taxes. Well, if you do the math, you'd have to earn about $65,000 in income in order to owe $7,500 in federal base income tax. Yes, that's on my leaf, Ben. Well, the problem is, number one, it's not refundable, which means you have to owe that much in taxes to collect it. And number two, it is not amortizable. It's a one-shot, one-deal, one-year tax rebate. So if you owe $400 in taxes this year, that's your electric car rebate, and that's all you get. So basically, only rich people need apply. Well, rumor has it they're going to change the rebate to be refundable, meaning you actually get that money back. And there's also rumor that they're going to make it usable on used electric car purchases. That would be amazing. Because I can, rebate or not, I can never afford a brand new electric car. But I would sell the minivan and the bus to get enough money to buy a more modern electric car that can go like 200 miles on a charge. And because that's with a 200-mile range electric car, the sky's the limit. That new Kia Soul EV looks pretty damn nice, and it goes 220 miles on a charge. You can go almost anywhere with a 200-mile range because you can make it from charger to charger. And with CCS charging, as long as it's a high-powered charging port, you can charge up in about an hour. So it's nice. But that's wishful thinking. That's wishful thinking. But you get a used Chevy Bolt for about 15 grand, $16,000, and that'll go over 200 miles on a charge. So that would change everything. I can go almost anywhere without having to buy gasoline. And hell, for my normal day-to-day driving, I'd only have to charge the thing up like twice a month. Who the fuck is that? Oh. Someone else who got booted off of a Vine program. Did I wear this last week? I have like 17 of these. I got like a dozen of them or 17 of them or something like that. I walked into a Walmart, and it was the end of the season, so they were going to be getting rid of them soon. I figured grab a couple more neon shirts, because at the time Walmart does a bi-yearly thing where one year it'll be neons, and then the next year it'll be pastels, and then they'll go back to neons, then they'll go back to pastels. So I wanted to grab a couple more of the neons because I knew next year would be pastels, and I don't like pastels. And so I grabbed, you know, one of each color that they had, and she rang up one shirt and it rang up $1. I was like, whoa, 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 what's that? And I was like, ring that up again. And she scanned it again and it rang up $1. I was like, hold on. I went back and I grabbed every single one they had. I mean, how often do you find neon pink shirts in 4X size for $1? I took every single one they had. I think I got like 14 or 15 of them or something like that, plus the ones I already had. So I've got over a dozen of these. I'll have to check that. I didn't notice that. Hang on.
You got me some too, Chris.
Now I'm curious. No, I didn't.
The shirts.
Not these.
Yeah, you got me a pink, or not a, you got me a blue one and you got me a gray one.
Yeah, but not this shirt.
There were short sleeves like that one.
YouTube Studio. Oh yeah, my last two, I was wearing a pink shirt. And then the one before that, I was wearing a green and khaki shirt. And the one before that, I was wearing a blue shirt. Then before that, pink one. Then before that, blue, 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 blue. So I tend to always wear the blue or the pink shirt. Yeah, mostly the blue shirt. I have like 9 of the blue shirts. Walmart had, they were long sleeve, not short sleeve like this. And ow, it hurts. There's my shots. I'm waiting for that 5G antenna to come out. Yeah, I gotta watch that. I tend to always wear the blue shirt. Like here's of my last, 20 streams. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 times I wore the blue shirt. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and this time 6, I wore the pink shirt. Only 3 times did I wear a different color shirt. So yeah, I'll have to start varying that a bit. They were just regular generic Band-Aids. Man, that wind is absolutely incredible.
It was like that all night.
Jesus. Let me show you guys this. Look at it bounce. Of course, now it's not going to do it. That whole carport actually bounces up and down from lift from the wind passing over it.
And my window does the same thing too. In the bathroom, Chris?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's got to be 40, 50 mile an hour winds. I mean, it's just like, holy crap. At least it's warm out. It's 50 degrees. Well, it's 42 now, but it should hit 50.
Back to my room.
Good riddance, troll.
They're fed.
Good. Are they eating? Are they both eating?
No. Only Ender's eating. I had to give him pate. because I couldn't get into the third bedroom
Yeah.
to get the other stuff because of that box for the shelf unit in it.
Yeah.
So I just grabbed what was on the shelf by the door. A little bit you can go into the room. And just chowing down.
Well, he's a pig. He'll eat almost anything.
He's not even sitting down while he's eating.
Wow.
Sit down.
That's incredible.
Now he's gonna sit down.
That is not what I wanted you to do.
There.
What do they got there? Wow.
No, doesn't like the wind.
Yeah, I'm trying to sell. I got a couple of dog crates that I was going to make into sheds. I was going to make them as storage sheds, but I'm going to try to sell them so I can I want to buy that cat feeder for Noel so that he oh yeah, I've seen a lot about that one. Apparently it's pretty well detailed.
He's acting like a jackrabbit again, Chris. Nosy.
I want to grab that Millennium Falcon model. Pineapple mango water. Really good. I love the Nestle Splash. Nestle is not a Kellogg's brand, is it?
Not that I know of. Nestle is its own brand.
I hope so. Yeah, it looks like it is. Oh no, it says load more.
I never heard of it being a Kellogg's product.
Why is it making me do it one line at a time? Show them all.
Maybe it's because it doesn't like you.
Yeah, well, I got a what do you call it? A bone to pick with Kellogg's because of what they're doing with their union workers, replacing 1,400 of them. Basically, the new contract for the union workers is to reduce their wages. That's the new contract, to reduce their wages. You say, well, it's a 3% increase. Yeah, but 3% is less than the inflation that's currently happening. So that's a reduction in pay, not an increase in pay. And so I was like, screw that. Nice. Looks like there's, I don't want that. Just show me the other models. Ah, they got your mystery wagon.
Mine?
Your mystery machine.
Yeah.
The Scooby-Doo mystery machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish they had a Scooby-Doo.
So I won't buy anything Kellogg's. Screw them. Oh, the X-Wing is free. And the Lambda is free. Thank you, Michael.
What did Michael do?
Provided links to these files.
Oh, cool. Now I understand why you left your phone in your room.
Oh, it won't let me download more than one. It says you gotta wait 8 days before you can download another one. Well, that's annoying. Why make it free if you're gonna restrict it? Was that you calling or somebody else?
I don't have my phone. So it couldn't be me.
Jeez.
bet.
So all these brands I'm not going to touch, which sucks because I love mini wheats.
So do
And that includes Pringles.
I. Pringles is a
Kellogg's brand, yep. Fuck Pringles.
I'll still eat Pringles. I like Pringles.
Yeah, but because I downloaded something new, now the other one says I have to wait. See, I'll show you. Because I just downloaded the Millennium Falcon. Oh, wait a minute. Is it going to let me do it now? No, see? It gives me that. You can download one free item after 7 days, 23 hours, 56 minutes. So it won't let me download it. I have to wait 8 days to download it. Yeah, but I just go back in a week and download it. Not a huge deal. It's annoying. It's not a limitation they should put in there. Ah. Man, that wind is incredible. Yeah, some of their SpaceX models are pretty nice. What the heck? I got an eBay commission payment? I got $4.33 from eBay. That's a problem. It's probably going to the wrong bank account. Oh my god. What is it doing? Uh, 7692. What? Yeah, 0126. Yeah, it's going to the wrong account. That's gonna suck. So I gotta change accounts. How do I change accounts? Bank account. I got that here. Where's that? Not there. Not there. That's Michelle's banking. That's all got to get updated. There it is. Account number. Routing. That is not an invalid routing code. Wait a minute, yes it is. That's not what I typed in. The fuck? Seriously? You're going to be that pedantic? Please don't be stupid. I hate when sites are stupid. It's like, don't be stupid. Okay, that's right. That's right. Okay. All right. Yeah, I heard about that. Don't I need that? Don't need that. Or this. Damn, it's shaking the house. That's incredible. Not to avoid bankruptcy, to curb potential bankruptcy in the future. Meaning, they put all their eggs in Starship. If Starship fails, the company fails. Because Falcon 9 doesn't have a large enough payload to meet the demands they need. Yeah, risk of. But that's kind of how he works. He's been on the bleeding edge from day one. I mean, what was he? What, Tesla was 1 day away from bankruptcy? At one point in time, like literally 1 day away? I also heard that him and Warren Buffett got into a little spat on Twitter. I love how she complains about all the tax credits going to Solar City customers from the federal government, and then someone got a hold of her 2018 tax return where she applied for the 30% tax credit for her solar installation. Oh my God! It's like, are you kidding me? But then again, Elon Musk, he's not so genuine either. He said that he's going to be, he is looking at this year being the highest taxpayer in U.S. history, meaning he's going to pay the highest tax bill in U.S. history. I don't care how many dollars your tax bill is. How many dollars your tax bill is doesn't matter. How much of it as a percentage of your income is it? Because 30% of $1 million is a whole lot less damaging than 30% of $20,000. There's a big difference there. So I don't care if you pay $1 billion in taxes. If you're making $100 billion, $1 billion in taxes is 10%. I pay more than 10%. So the dollar amount, see, that's the problem. These people are dealing in dollar amounts so large that people lose sight of what actually matters. You know, when the way I describe it is that you have a base cost of living. That's pretty high, actually, but I have a feeling it's not actually 53%, because remember, they have ways of adjusting their taxable income, and they're not illegal. They're not doing anything shady. They're operating in the system that exists. Hey, DeWitt. Yeah, we're 3D printing keys for my car, and they actually work. No, he doesn't create value. Musk doesn't create any value. I mean, that's one of the things that that Musk is this one of the things where I give Elon Musk credit. Okay, Elon Musk is intelligent in a different way. He's a business genius because not because he creates value. He doesn't. He doesn't create hardly any value at all. His employees create value. His workers create value. The 100,000 people he has working for him, or however many it is, those people are the ones creating value, not Elon. People have this. It drives me nuts when people, without those employees, he would have nothing. There would be no Tesla. There would be no Gigafactory. There would be no Solar City. There would be no SpaceX. And he didn't start his company without the employees. You can keep flipping those words as many times as you want. You're not going to change the fact that without the employees, he has nothing. All he has is an idea. That's it. All he has is an idea. His employees have the actual value. Now, his genius, Elon Musk's no. Elon is an extension of his employees. Other way around. Elon Musk's genius, one of the reasons I like the guy, no, he does not direct their actions. That's actually why he's succeeding, okay? That's why Elon Musk is succeeding, because unlike a lot of other CEOs and politicians, Elon Musk knows how to shut up, okay? So, yes, they do. They direct his actions. That's why he's succeeding. You see, the reason Elon Musk is doing so well, the reason I call him an absolute genius of our age, is that he is smart enough to realize he's an idiot. Elon Musk is smart enough to realize that I'm stupid. So I'm going to surround myself with people who aren't stupid. I'm going to surround myself with people who know how to get done what I want to get done, and I'm going to let them tell me how to do it. I have a vision, and I'm going to surround myself with people who can tell me how to make my vision happen. They direct his actions, and that is why he is so successful. Because he understands that. He understands that he does not know how to make a rocket land, that he does not know how to make a better battery, that he does not know how to make a Tesla car succeed, that he does not know how to make solar succeed. So he surrounds himself with people who do know how to do those things. And that's why he is so successful. Exactly. If you're smart, you hire people who know what you don't know. All you've got is the vision. That's all you got. Yeah. Well, didn't he originally come from PayPal? Well, wasn't his original investment PayPal, or was that the Microsoft guy doing Blue Origin? One of them came from PayPal. But Musk's genius is in understanding his own limitations, understanding that he does not know how to do these things. So it was PayPal. I had the original X.com card. And did he invent it or did he found it? There's a big difference. He might actually be smart enough to have actually been involved in the actual invention of it. Exactly. He knew a smart move when he saw it, and he moved on it. Yeah, so he made his money ripping people off. Because PayPal's a ripoff. Yeah, because he is a pretty smart cookie. He's no dummy. And that's the problem you see in politics. You either have a president who doesn't know how to shut his mouth, or you have a president who doesn't know how to open his mouth. Musk is smart enough to realize, I don't know how to do this. Let me hire people who do. Exactly. There are, with very, very few exceptions, and I mean very few, very, very few. Like the founders of Google would be an exception. They actually invented the product that is making them billions today. And But most wealthy people, they become. There's two ways you become wealthy. Well, they're both kind of the same way. It's just a different path to the same thing. You know, all wealthy people become wealthy by screwing other people. That's the only way you could become wealthy. You have to screw somebody else. That's the nature of our system. That's the way it's designed. I don't like it, but that's how it works. Some people do it a little more elegantly than others. But you mean he stole DOS from IBM, and he stole Windows from, who was that team at the not DARPA, the other group, something Park. Where did both him and Apple stole Windows? Xerox, from the Xerox Park Brain Trust group. Yeah, exactly, Xerox Park. They both stole it from them. They didn't invent Windows. They stole it from Xerox. Exactly. He bought DOS and he stole Windows. Oh my God. Well, I guess he technically didn't steal it. I mean, there was no theft involved, but he didn't invent it. Okay, just like Edison didn't invent the light bulb. Okay, he didn't. Although Bill Gates was not as scummy as Edison. Same thing. The mouse came from Xerox Park, and guess where that came from? Guess where all that came from? Your taxpayer dollars. Your government created all of that by being smart and putting money where it made sense. Okay, that's what we're supposed to depend on our government for, to intelligently spend our money to advance society. Did he do a short sell on DOS? But the point is, none of these people invented these things. They took ideas other people invented and they ran with it. Okay, they're not creating the value. The people under them are creating the value. The Sam Walton made Walmart. His current family doesn't add any value to Walmart. They just take value. They take value away from other people. When a Walmart goes into a local area, Zuckerberg, how did he create Facebook? I don't know the history of Zuckerberg. I know he's a whack job. Yes, correct. Like I said in the beginning, a lot of the times the good ones, they have the vision. They have the bold, broad idea. I want to go to Mars on reusable rockets. They have the broad vision, but the people under them are the ones who make it. And like I said, there are exceptions. So, for example, the Google brothers, they actually made Google. That was an invention. They didn't take it from somebody. They didn't, take something and expand from someone else. They actually made Google, and I believe Zuckerberg made Facebook. Although, really, Facebook was just an advancement of MySpace. Okay? So he didn't invent Facebook in a vacuum. It was originally meant to be a college kid version of, or college graduate version of MySpace. And it just took off from there. And so he had the original idea, the original invention, so I'll give him credit for that, even though it was basically an evolution of someone else's invention. But these mega corporations today do not add value to our society. They take value from our society. If SpaceX and I don't know about SpaceX. I have no idea what the wages at SpaceX are like. Maybe they do pay living wages. I mean, maybe SpaceX and Tesla do pay their people correctly. I don't know, so I don't want to shit on them if they actually are doing the right thing. Exactly, it was literally a remix of MySpace. It was a polished version of MySpace. So even Zuckerberg didn't really invent it, but he ran with the idea. I don't know. Who knows? Now you see, YouTube is an example of what you call a natural monopoly. A natural monopoly exists when the market simply can't support more than one participant. where the costs of entering the market are so high relative to the incumbent that there just isn't a whole lot of room for multiple participants. And, well, nowadays the sole purpose of creating patents is to restrict the marketplace. It's not to advance ideas, it's not to create progress, it's to restrict the marketplace. The ability to keep others out of your market. It's basically patents have... Okay, a patent is a government monopoly. And it's a justified one. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we want to encourage people to invent things. But if you can't invent anything because you can never make a living from it, because, well, they should do it for the betterment of mankind. Fine. Tell me how they're going to eat. Tell me how they're going to get to work. Tell me how they're going to pay for their car, their house, their clothes, their soap, their keys, whatever. Tell me how they're going to pay for life's expenses. They need to make an income. All right? So it is justifiable to say, okay, as a result of you making something that's going to better mankind, we're going to give you a temporary monopoly. We're going to government enforce a monopoly that no one else can, violate your monopoly for a limited period of time. The problem is companies have figured out how to weaponize this. So it no longer does what it's supposed to do. I mean, just the basic cost of a monopoly, of a patent, is $17,000. And there's a lot of other costs on top of that. Your average person can't do that. Your average person can't get a patent. They have to get a patent through a company, and that company is going to insist on taking the bulk of what they get because they're doing the work of filing the patent and defending it. And then let's not even talk about Chinese just saying, screw it, we're just going to copy it anyway. It's like the wild, wild west of capitalism over there. And so patents no longer work. Patents are now broken. Now, the way I see it, we need to change the patent system. First of all, the patents need to be shorter, especially if it's a rapidly evolving technology. The more rapidly evolving your technology is, the shorter the patent should be. So, a stagnant technology, okay, leave the patent at, 11 years or 17 years or something? Well, how long is a patent? I don't know how long a patent is. It's like 10 or 20 years. It's somewhere in that range. But if you have a rapidly evolving technology, for example, electric car patents, 5 years. And you have 1 year to commercialize it. If you can't do something commercially with that patent within a year, it's gone. It's public domain. So you can't sit on patents anymore. Now, this should be different for end users. So if you have a private individual with a patent, they should have more lenient conditions. Because, for example, if a private individual has to license with a manufacturer, you don't want the manufacturer to go, no, I'm just not going to work with you, and then I'm going to wait until your patent expires in a year, and then I'll just take your product. So you have to adjust for that. All from PayPal. That's amazing how much of this shit comes from PayPal. Damn. I mean, Tesla, SpaceX, SolarCity, YouTube. I mean, how many things come from PayPal? Jesus. I guess PayPal made a lot of people rich. I guess when you're stealing people's money, it's easy. And so they would have to adjust patents accordingly so companies can't abuse the short time limit of a patent to steal product from a private individual. So these shortened time limits should only be regarding commercial patents, meaning where a company owns, licenses, or uses the patent. Those should have a time frame. And it should be short. So basically we need to make it impossible for them to sit on patents, to weaponize patents, to use patents simply to stifle the market. And that needs to stop. Like, for example, in my system, the moment GM sold the Ovonics patent to ECD basis via Texaco bankruptcy, the moment that would have happened, I would have said, you got 6 months to bring it to market or the patent's public domain. That's what I would have done. As the U.S. government, that is what I would have done. I would have said, you got 6 months. These actions you're taking are clearly intended to bury this technology. Okay? You don't have a right to bury technology. You have a right to profit from technology, but you don't have a right to bury it. So if a company takes actions that are clearly intended to bury a technology, the patent should be null and void, and it should immediately go into the public domain. And all licenses and contracts regarding that patent, null and void. That would stop people from burying patents. So use it or lose it. And the same thing should apply to copyright. Personal copyright, I invent some kind of art piece, okay? That should have a lifetime copyright. The moment you commercialize the copyright, it should have a lifespan, and a short one. Well, patents on prospective technology, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. Because sometimes you need the protection in order to secure the funding to attempt to do something. So like a company might say, well, we don't want to provide you with $10 billion in funding to try to develop a warp drive if we don't have a patent for that warp drive. Because how are we going to get our $10 billion back? So something like that makes sense. But there should be time constraints. Now, if other people in the industry are trying to move forward with this technology and they can't because of your patent, that's when the Patent and Trademark Office should look at your patent and go say, what are you doing with it? If you're just sitting on it, we're going to void it. Show us what you're doing with it. Show us that you're actually doing something with this patent. So that kind of makes sense. I can see situations where that makes sense, where you're asking for a lot of money to be invested to develop something that you don't even know is possible. Well, that company wants to have some reassurance they're going to be able to recoup their investment. I am a capitalist, okay? I have no problem with capitalism. Remember, this country doesn't operate under capitalism. This country operates under feudalism. We stopped using capitalism decades ago. But so I don't have a problem with a company or a person wanting to profit from the things. But when you start using this artificial monopoly that we grant you, this privilege we grant you, to hinder the market, well, that's the opposite of the intended purpose of the patent system. The intended purpose of the patent system was the betterment of all mankind, the betterment of society in our country. That was the point of the patent system. Now it's being weaponized. Now it's being used to hinder society, to suffocate it. And it needs to change. It needs to stop. Like a company trying to patent or trademark the hexagon. It's like, really? Really? It's like, why didn't somebody at the trademark office go, yeah, that doesn't make sense, and punt that? Who got paid? Oh, man. Old curmudgeon, how are you doing? But patents are also supposed to be for functional things. Patents are supposed to be for something that actually exists. I mean, the biggest scam is when a company, a pharmaceutical company, is able to patent nature. Like something that's existed for millions of years, and they're patenting it. No! No! That should not be allowed. Or when software companies are able to get patents for what should be copyright. No, that's copyright, not patent. You didn't invent anything. You wrote code. That's copyright. But, Stratasys just wants to, they want to hinder the market. They don't want to advance the market. And I hate that. I was about to say, what the hell are Cheetos? He said chips. Are my parts being delivered here, or are they being delivered to the post office? Says it's out for delivery. Alright, that's an Amazon number, so they're delivering it to the house. Okay. What is clean room clone code? What is that? Well, you see, that's the problem, though. That's why a lot of these companies were securing software patents. You see, with a copyright, you can do the same thing if you can do it in a different way, if you don't use the actual same code that they use. But because they're able to get patents for some of these things, they're patenting the end result, regardless of how you got there. And they're doing that specifically to prevent you from doing that, from reinventing something your own way. That's why they're bastardizing the patent system to allow it to apply to software, so that they can prevent other people from doing something similar. So, and then sometimes the system fails. Sometimes you'll have somebody who comes up with an idea, and then someone else will take that idea, change it to be their own, and then not have to pay the original person who came up with the idea. This happened with the tardigrades in Star Trek Discovery. I mean, they very clearly stole that idea from its creator, but because they reinvented it themselves and didn't directly copy what the creator made, they got away with it, and the court sided with Paramount. And to me, that's bullshit. I mean, courts should have a spirit. The law should have a spirit. We call it the spirit of the law, meaning not the letter of the law, but what the law intends. What was the intended reason to create the law? Well, the intended reason to create copyright law is to prevent companies from doing exactly what they did. And they're using loopholes in the law to get away with it, and that's not right. Even though you can very clearly, any reasonable, normal person can very clearly see this is a ripoff of that. Yeah, exactly. That's what our system has become. So... well, if they make something similar, that's fine. If it's a direct copy, then it's not fine. And of course, if they have a patent on it, their similar idea might still violate the patent. And that's the point of a patent. When you invest the money into making something, well, the only reason you invest that money into making something is to make a profit. I mean, what's the reason I have this YouTube channel? The reason I have this YouTube channel is to earn an income, to make a profit, so that I can live. So I can pay my car bill, so I can pay my electric bill, so I can pay my property taxes, so I can pay for the food when we go to the grocery store. That's the point of earning a profit, is so that we can earn a living. And the Mosquito is not creating a patent and then sitting on it. They're actively using the patent, making a product. So that's a valid patent that should be protected. Do I like it? No. But I also want that company to exist making cool products, and I want them to be able to earn a profit, because if they can't earn a profit, they're not going to exist. So it's a compromise you accept in order to allow a company and people who own that company to make a profit in exchange for a monopoly on the product they invent. That's the whole point of the patent system. You know, because, you know, if I can't make money doing it, I'm not going to bother doing it. You know, are there some people... Are there some people who make things just for the sake of making things? Sure. But they usually have other forms of income, so they don't care. Not everybody can do that. You know, the people at what's the name of the company? It's not Mosquito. Slice Engineering. The people at Slice Engineering, you know, they have bills. They have paychecks to write. You know, they have mortgages. They have car payments. They got to put gas in the car, food on the table, health insurance for their family. You know, they have to pay for life. And they do that via Slice Engineering. Now, if they patented the Mosquito hot end and then, you know, only sold it at an exorbitant price, Well, then don't buy the $190 hot end. Buy the Micro Swiss. You know, that's the wonderful thing about what's supposed to be a capitalist environment, is that you'll have options. That's the problem with GM. They had that patent that Ovonix had on the nickel metal hydride traction pack was what's called a controlling patent. That means the patent covers enough of the technology that no one else can make a similar battery without infringing the patent. So in the industry, we call that a controlling patent, and that's like the silver spoon. That's like the gem on the top of the headpiece. That's what everybody wants. Everybody wants a controlling patent because that allows you to control the technology. And the problem is GM didn't develop it. They didn't profit from it. They didn't make electric cars and use the patent to secure their ability to recoup their investment in inventing those things. Instead, they buried it. Like they intentionally buried it so that no one could use it. And that is not what the patent system was made for. Their patent should have been nulled and voided immediately. To me, that's fraud. To me, that's literal fraud. They're doing the exact opposite of what the patent system is intended to do. Yes and no. They have not put their patents into public domain. What they've done is create a public exchange, meaning if you allow people to use your patents, you can use our patents. So what Tesla is doing is they're saying, let's all share our patents, let's all use our patents to make this stuff go forward. Exactly. Stratasys sat on it. But they didn't sit on it. They used it to lock down the market for their own products. But they were selling the products. They weren't just sitting on it in a corner and not using it. They were using it. It was their business. So technically that's what the patent is for. But once the patent expired, look what happened. The 3D printing industry exploded. That's what the patent is supposed to do. The problem is it was just a little too long. So the way Tesla is saying, you can use all of our patents, but there's a catch. You've got to let everybody else use your patents. So you've got the patents, but you got to let everybody use your patents without exorbitant fees or crap like that. And so obviously other manufacturers don't want to do that. They want to hold their patents, and so they can't use Tesla's patents. So they see it as a, what do you call it? A tainted offer. When I disagree, I think it's a valid offer. Anybody have any more questions about the key? Otherwise, I think we might switch the stream over to the other channel. Because I need to build up some view time on the other channel, and then we can start talking about other things. So before we switch over, does anybody have any questions for the key, what I did with them so far? Later on today, I should have the brass inserts and the carbon rods, so I'll be able to experiment with different ways of reinforcing the key. I mean, I am satisfied with what I got so far. It does work. I would call it a temporary use key. The big concern would be unlocking the door in the wintertime when the locks get tougher. That's okay, I don't mind. You seem like a reasonable person, so. But just remember, we don't just boot trolls. We're kind of cool with it as long as they're not being vulgar. If they start getting vulgar, boot them. Yeah, it works. I was able to unlock the door, and I was able to start the engine. Okay, there's two aspects to a key. So for the people who weren't here in the beginning when we were talking about this, you have the bitting, which is the shape. I'm covering up part of it so you can't copy my key. You might be able to, I don't know. So you have the bitting there. That's the shape of the key. that controls the tumblers in the lock, that's easy. I knew that was going to work. The problem is, modern keys, when you stick the key in, the strength of the key absorbs the torque of turning the key. So as you can see, this one got mangled up pretty good. Now that was a silk filament. I should have realized I shouldn't use a silk filament for this. As soon as I printed it in PLA, it worked fine. So I got a couple PLA versions that work just fine. That one's actually easier to see because it's darker. So that bitting right there, that is the keyway. That's easy. That's the easy part. The hard part is the torque, because the key wants to bend. See how it's bending? And that's why the resin ones aren't going to work, because the resin ones bend real easy. I mean, that's real easy to bend. And the problem is, unlike filament, resin will break anywhere. Which means if this breaks off inside the car, you're going to have a bad time. Especially the door. Especially a Kia Soul door, because there's only one door lock on the entire car. You got 5 doors, but only one keyhole, because most people use the remote. You know, they use the clicker. So there's only one keyhole in the whole car. So if you jam that one keyhole, you're in deep shit. So the advantage of using filament is I can print it like this, which means all the strands of filament run this way, which means it can't break off in the car. Even if I twist this around 180 degrees, it's just going to twist. It's not going to break in the car. So you'll never have to worry about leaving a piece of the key in the car. That's why I use the filament to print that part of the key. And then I just stick it inside the head and you have a key. If I could make it like 10% stiffer, we'd be good. So some of the ideas I have, yeah, it's too soft. We need harder, not softer. So some of the ideas I have are these. So this is my new version of the 2-piece key. It's shorter because right here is about where the interface is with the car. So I got these little brass blanks to put in here. Annealing it might work. I didn't think of that. Does annealing make it... But see, the problem is annealing shrinks. Because I don't have the ability to cut aluminum or steel. And for me, the project is, can I 3D print it? So the other idea is to resin print them and put an insert in here, a little brass insert, so that will absorb the torque load. So this right here is how much of the key goes inside the car. So right here is the torque line. So the little brass plug that I stick in there, that would absorb the torque. I also made this version with 2 1mm channels going straight through it for 1mm carbon fiber rod. So I'm going to try both. I think the brass insert's going to be the easiest and the best solution, because I might even be able to get away with one. This has an insert on both sides, but I might be able to get away with one. And so what I can do is I can resin print the heads because it look pretty, and then this part here, you can print that in 10 minutes. It's like a 7-minute print. So it's about 10 minutes with warm-up time. Actually, the older ignitions will work better. The older doors will be harder. Your door is going to be harder, but your ignition is easier, and here's why. Because the older cars used this. The key would insert into the car, and then you would have that tab, those paddles, and you would turn the paddles so you're not torquing the key. So oddly enough, assuming you could find a blank model of your key, or you make a 3D model of your key, this one was unusually easy because it's just a rectangle. But assuming you could find a model of your key, then yes, it would actually be easier because you have the paddles. And those paddles are what take the torque, not the key. Because these old keys, you'd shear the key off. Even a brass key, you would shear the key off if you tried to turn it with the key. That's usually what would happen, is that a person would break one of these paddles, and they'd start using the key to turn the ignition, and eventually they would shear the key off inside the ignition, because it's just not designed to take that kind of torque. So oddly enough, if you have those paddles, if you have ears, this would actually be easier. If you don't have ears, it'll be harder because the older ignition systems are more physical, meaning it takes more force to turn them, especially because most of them are 10, 20, 30 years old. So in theory, now ways around that. For example, one way around that would be to, let's see. Here we go. So one way around that, for example, like here's one with horns, and here's one without horns. So in theory, what you could do is insert your plastic key, and then, for example, what I would do is I would put a little slot right here in the ignition. I would Dremel a little slot that I can stick a screwdriver into. So I would insert the plastic key and then stick the screwdriver in the slot next to it and use that slot to generate the torque to turn the ignition. This way I'm not torquing the plastic key as much. Not all of them do. That's right, not all of them have the ears on them. You see, this is an old car and it does not have ears. You know, and this is an old car and it does have ears. So this is a really old one. Yeah, that's an old key, and it does not have ears. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to make ears. You'd have to make something to allow you to apply torque. But the reason I did this was because when I lost the key, it cost me $108 for that key. That key right there cost me $108. Well, I'll never have to pay $108 ever again. Yeah, so you'd have to put the slot where on the part that rotates. Yes. So the slot would have to go right here. Okay? Or you'd slot this open a little bit here. You'd widen that a little bit so that you could put a screwdriver next to your key. So you'd stick your key in and you'd stick your wedge in next to it, and so the wedge would take the torque of the turn instead of the key taking the torque. You'd have to find a torque amplifier. You'd have to figure out a way of transferring the torque away from the key. That's all. You know, when you pick a lock, you got the pressure wrench, and then you got the pick. Well, the pressure wrench is to hold tension, but also the pressure wrench is so that you can actually turn the tumbler once you pick the lock, because the pick itself can't turn the lock. It's too flimsy. Same thing here. You need something to transfer the torque. Now this key, I got lucky because this style key is basically a 3mm thick by 7.5mm wide chunk of material. It's unusually strong as far as a 3D print goes, so it worked. A regular key might not work as well. You know, well, a big part of it comes down to how well made is your lock and how easily does your lock turn. If you have a nice high quality lock that's well lubricated, you know, sometimes, you know, it takes like no effort to just click, click. It's an easy turn. So it just all depends. Like on my Quest, turning the key would be easy. It doesn't take much effort. But the actual turn to start the car takes more torque. There's resistance when you go to start the car because there's a spring in there, and so that it wants to bounce back so that the starter doesn't continue to be engaged. That's how you're able to release the key and it goes back to the on position. It doesn't stay there engaging your starters. Yeah, my Nissan Leaf is the same thing. It just uses a smart key. I don't even have to press the button. There's a button on the door handle. As long as I'm wearing this somewhere on me, the door will respond to me when I press the button. And when I get in the car, as long as this key is inside the car, I can press the start button and the car will turn on. Now, there is a backup key inside. That's actually not for starting the car. That's for unlocking the door so that you can get into the car. See you later, old curmudgeon. That's for unlocking the door if the batteries are dead. Since the doors are electronic, you know, this has the ability to work without power. So if the battery in this dies, it has a near field communications capability. So if I the ring around the ignition, the start button, if I touch this to that, there's a what do you call it? What do you call the little things that are wireless? You could tap it on the register to pay for things or to download a web link. Is it NFID? Well, whatever the hell that is called, this has it. So the ring on the car generates an EM field that energizes a coil inside of the key, and that gives it enough power for this to transmit the signal back. Now, of course, when the battery's working, this remote is an active transmitter, and it just transmits, says, "Hey, I'm here," and the car says, "Okay, I'll work." That's how it won't let you lock the key in the car, because it goes, "Oh, no, your key's in the car," and it unlocks the car again. And it's actually, it has some level of positional awareness. So if I stand near the trunk, the hatch, it'll let me unlock the hatch. But if someone presses the unlock button on the door, it won't work, because the car knows the key is not near the front door. And also, the button on the outside of the car to unlock the door won't work if I'm inside the car. Like, the car's smart enough to know that, oh, you're inside the car. I'm going to disable that button on the outside of the car. And it just goes dee-dee-dee, letting you know that the button was pressed, but it was ignored. That's so people can't run up to your car and hit the button and unlock your door. That would suck. But, so, here's another version of the one with ears. So that's also got those little ears right here. Some have it, some don't. And it actually might not be that hard to add ears to your ignition. A little bit of TIG welding. Weld 2 little paddles on there. Might be possible. Not sure. Yeah, here's the better picture right there. You see the ears. And the key just fits right in there. This one is a different style. The key sits inside. There's like a socket that the key fits in. So the load is borne by the entire key. Damn it. That freaks me out when I see that roof move that much. I'm thinking about putting turbulators on top of the roof to break up the airflow so it can't lift the roof. Because that's what happens. The roof is acting like a wing, and it's generating lift, and that's what's causing it to bounce up and down. So I'm wondering if I stick some turbulators up there, if that'll stop it from doing that. I wonder how many I would need, how big they'd have to be. I might need a lot of them. That works, but only one of my car has a, oh yeah, windmills are expensive. You know, at least one that works, you know, and, yeah, windmills would definitely be ideal for here, because we get a lot of wind, like, constantly throughout the year, we get a decent amount of wind, and especially at night, so we would get a lot of power generation at night, but ultimately the problem comes down to storage. I got no way to store the power. I'm going to try to run my freezers off-grid. When I get that shed done, and I get those 2 freezers going, and I take these 4 freezers offline. Hi, kitty. Someone's already done it, and it's pretty efficient. They take about 50 watts an hour. So 4 of my lithium iron phosphate batteries and a single $80 250-watt solar panel would be enough to run the freezers 24/7 without grid power. So I'm going to experiment with that. That's going to be my first off-grid experiment, to try to run my freezers without grid power. What I want, and I don't know why nobody's done this. Maybe they haven't thought of it. I have this solar light. It's a solar-powered light that has no batteries. There's no batteries in the light. The solar panel goes outside. It's a primary light fixture. It's not like a dinky camping light. It's a primary light fixture designed to light up a room. And what it is, here's the kitty. Yep, he loves crawling up there. Hi, kitty. Are you having fun up there? Huh? You just ate. Yeah, I see you going licking your chops, huh? Did you eat all of Noel's food? Yeah, you probably did, you pig. Vince is gone. There is no more Vince. I got booted with no explanation. A whole bunch of people got booted with no explanation. So that is gone. No more free stuff. Yeah. That sucks. But, so the way it works is the light has two power inputs. It's got an AC power input, so it's got a little brick, and it's got a solar panel. You put the solar panel outside. When there is enough solar energy to run the light, it uses solar energy. If there's a storm or cloud cover or it's nightfall, it switches over to the AC power brick. And that is perfect. That's a perfect solar transition. If we could have stuff like have a dual grid in the house, you have a DC grid and an AC grid, and your appliance would come with two plugs. It would come with an AC plug and a DC plug. And this way you would set up solar panels, maybe have a small battery pack just to act as a buffer. So if like a cloud goes over or something like that, to level out the power, so the power is not all over the place, to smooth out the power. And that way you could run everything on solar when you have enough solar, and when there's not enough solar, just use AC power. I mean, that would cut my electric bill in half. Because I wouldn't have to use any power during the day. I can get solar panels cheap. Obviously my power usage is not smooth over a day. But even on a worst case scenario, I use 42 kilowatt hours. Divided by 24 is 1.7 kilowatt hours times 1,000. That's 1,750 watts. Divided by 250, that's 7 solar panels. Now, you're never going to get 100% of a solar panel. We typically use 50%. So I need 14 solar panels. 14 times 80. $1,120, I could reduce my electric bill to 1/2. The ROI would be 2 years. Because my average electric bill is $140, and if I cut my bill in half, that's a $70 savings. So 70 times 12 is 840 times 2, 1,680. So even if I only saved like 40% because you have fixed costs in your electric bill, in 2 years the solar panels would pay for themselves without me having to worry about a grid tie, without me having to worry about expensive permits, without me having to worry about batteries. Just run the stuff during the day when there's enough power, and when there's not, run off AC. Solar panels fail, everything switches over to AC. You'll never even know. You just hear the little chirp going off saying, hey, check your panels, they're not working. But everything still works. Why don't they do that? So, especially my heating. If I can run my heating off of solar, that would have a dramatic effect on my bill. Although, last month, my bill only went up $40. Now, we're not cold yet. We're still hitting 50 degrees during the daytime and 15 to 20 degrees at night. So we're not cold yet. So far, the heat pumps have only increased my electric bill $40. I think that was a smart move. If I were running the pellet stove, it would have been $160. So it's already saved me $120 over the pellet stove, and I don't have to do anything. I don't have to turn it off and let it cool down. I don't have to clear out the ash. I don't have to go out to the container and drag in another 40-pound bag of pellets and wait for it to start and make sure it's working right and clean the flue. I don't have to do any of that. All I got to do is click. And it just works. I was actually thinking about using a window AC unit to boost my cooling in the summertime. Not so much because I need more cooling. This is more than capable of cooling this entire house. But a small 5,000 BTU window air unit only takes about 500 watts. So, three $80 solar panels. In fact, if I go four $80 solar panels, I could probably get 12 hours of runtime out of it. Because you're going to get less sunlight in the morning and the evening when the sun's at an angle, so you need more panels to make up for the power difference. But like 4 or 5 panels would probably be enough to run that air conditioner from sun up to sundown, purely on solar. Put a couple of batteries in there just to act as a buffer, and I've got plenty of those. 4 of these would be able to act as a buffer. What is that? 8 times 12, that's 96 watts, so 4 of these would be 400 watts. I could probably get away with peaking at 500 watts every now and then, because it's only for a couple of minutes. So the 10 amp hour ones would be better, because that'll get me over 500 watts. So 4 of these would be enough as a buffer battery. And then, it simply would stop working when the sun went down. That's all. It would just turn off. But the point is, during the day, it would be cooling the house, meaning this unit would have to work less. It wouldn't have to work as hard, which would reduce my bill. Because whatever cooling that added, this doesn't have to generate. How do you run AC stuff on DC? How does that work? Because not having to use an inverter would save me 10% efficiency. Because the inverter is going to take 10%. A good inverter. Are you there? Says we're good. What? If you plug an AC unit into 110 volt DC, it'll work? Where can I see information on that? I don't want to blow up a $120 air conditioner doing that. Although that would require a lot of batteries. Because 4 batteries would only get me 50 volts. So I would need 8 batteries in order to get 110 DC. Solar panels, that'd be pretty easy, but batteries, that'd be pretty hard. Because for whatever reason, most of these batteries say do not daisy chain more than 4. Make sure you have a UPS. And stick around for that first layer. Make sure that first layer sticks down good. So put your printer on a UPS and make sure the first layer sticks down good, and then just go. Wipe it down, moist towel, damp towel, wipe down all your rails and your wheels. Make sure the printer's cleaned up. Make sure everything's tight. Check your bolts. The stuff that tends to come loose. Give your print a little wiggle here and there. See if anything's loose. Make sure your spool mount is solid. Make sure you don't have any cutting at your feeder where the filament goes in that might eventually cause it to jam. Any of the problems that normally might happen, check for the precursors for those problems and try to address them in advance so that you don't have a problem during your 60-hour print. What are you printing? I don't see anything. Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Death Dealer. Nice. No, I cannot see the link. YouTube is blocking it. Send it by email. Yes, my home is secure. Oh my God, could you imagine your house falling over? That would suck. Oh my God, that would suck. Wow, that would suck. The only thing I don't like about this unit, it's a little noisy. I don't know if you can hear it. You might be able to. It's above the noise floor. But it's that little warbling, whining noise that's coming from that. I hate that. It's not that annoying, but... So what do you guys want to talk about? But I do wish that more companies would do that. Things that can run off of both solar and AC, and it would auto switch in between. You know, when the solar wasn't enough, run on AC. When the solar is enough, run on solar. You know, I wish more companies would do that. Yeah, have you seen how much those EcoFlow units cost? Yeah, they're expensive. I mean, these units, for the most part, will do that. You know, not this little one, but the bigger ones I have, they'll do that. Like I'm doing that right now. This unit's plugged into AC power. I could plug solar power into it if I want. And then I could run my little fridge here. I'm not running it right now because, you know, we don't need it. But the little ones do that. But you can't run big things on that. Plus, you have the inefficiency of the conversions. If it was designed into the product, it'd be a lot more efficient. Because you wouldn't have the losses of the battery, its charging system, its inverter system, and conversion systems, and all that. And EcoFlows are nice, but they're very... Yeah, for real. One time he looked like he was going to jump off there. I was like, don't you fucking dare. Like, I'll kick your ass, cat. I got to trim his claws again. Cat recipes. Yeah, Chinese food, you little bastard. Chinese food. Oh my God. I've been trying to teach Michelle how to use coupons. You know, she gets excited when she sees a coupon for something. It's like, oh, it's $3 off. I was like, yeah, but you're going to spend 16. I was like, but you get $3 off. I was like, but you're going to spend 16. I was like, unless you're already buying that thing, you're not saving any money. You're just spending a little less, but you're still spending. I was like, you got to be careful. Here we go. In my opinion, the best print surface is a build tack, fake tack type surface, like what originally came on the Creality printers. You know, the sticker that feels like fabric. Those are my favorites. No, still no roof on the shed. Unless I can find somebody who can help me do it, I can't do it. I mean, there's nothing I can physically do to build that roof. It's beyond my physical capacity. I prefer the fabric style surfaces for several reasons. One, they stick really, really well, and two, they work without heat. So if you turn the heat off, the print's not going to come off the bed. So for very long prints, this is advantageous because I can slowly turn off the bed heat as the print gets taller. So a couple hours after starting the print, my bed heater is off. The advantage of that is now my 200, 300 watt printer is only consuming 50 watts because the printer is only a 40 or 50 watt device. The heat bed is all the rest of the power. By turning off the heat bed, my UPS will now run that printer a very long time. You know, maybe even 40 minutes to an hour compared to a couple of minutes with the heat on. Garolite is good for nylon. So if you want to print nylon, you want Garolite. You missed the key part. What key part? I'll just explain it again. I don't mind. Okay, first of all, you can't run an AC unit off of DC. When they say AC in the article, they're not talking about AC air conditioner. They're talking about AC alternating current. I know. And then so basically this only works if your device is using rectified power, meaning your device is already a DC device and it has a rectifier built in to convert to DC power. So for example, your Christmas lights this would work on, because your Christmas lights are a DC device that uses rectified AC power to run them. Your air conditioner is not a DC device. It does not have a rectifier inside. It runs on AC, so it would not work. The other problem you're going to run into, and this article agrees, is that you're going to burn your shit up. Because when you use a rectifier, you have two sets of diodes. One set of diodes converts this current, and the other diode converts that current, because you have alternating current. So a full bridge rectifier converts both AC currents to DC current to power your device, like an LED bulb. A partially rectified LED bulb is one that will flicker, and the ones that don't flicker are fully rectified. The problem is, if you plug AC power into that DC power into that device, you're now only using one set of rectifier diodes, which means you're now putting the full power that the device consumes into one half of its diodes, which means you're going to overload, overheat, and burn up those diodes, because now you're not splitting the load with the other set of diodes, like an AC input would. So with very limited examples, this could work. So, for example, things that might work ideally with this would be like heaters, because heaters are all DC devices. It's like a light bulb. It doesn't matter which way you plug it in. So, in theory, a resistance heater could be pretty easily converted to run on DC power. But anything else, however, might not work so well. Yes, a color change on a Delta printer is no different than a color change on any other printer. You pause the print, you change the filament, you resume the print. Obviously, your biggest concern is to make sure your effector stays in place when you pause, so that it does not move, meaning you have to be careful not to move it. For example, when you pause a CR10, an original CR10, the steppers unlock after 30 seconds. So you have to be very careful with that. What you would want is a 900 volt amp to 1500 volt amp UPS. So I have them linked in my description. Let me find a link for you. So what you want is a 900 watt. Let's see, what's the best deal? 150, 157, 157. This is probably the one that I would use. You can see I've purchased this one before. 161 bucks. You can get a slightly smaller one. This one will technically run your Ender 3 without a problem, but I would rather pay the extra 20 bucks and get the bigger one, because this will actually run 2 Ender 3s, and it'll give you more run time. You can get a used one for 150. Those are usually factory returns, and they work just fine. So you can save 12 bucks. Then again, with that small price difference, you might want to just go with the new one. But that right there will run almost any 3D printer. The only time I have a problem is when I try to run, say, my Ender 3 and my Chiron at the same time. If both beds heat up at the same time, it could go over 900 watts. So in that case, what you do is you would heat up the bed of one printer first and then start the second printer. As long as both beds aren't going full tilt at the same time, you're fine. Wish me no explosions. But yeah, that's right there. That right there is what I use. I have like 6 of these throughout the house. We have very bad power here, so I have UPSs all over the place. I run everything on UPSs just because I don't need that bad power destroying my $4,000 TV, you know, or my $2,000 computer or camera or whatever. So pretty much all my low power stuff is on UPSs. And if you're running a single printer on this, it'll run for quite a while. Usually more than enough time for power to come back on. Now, of course, if you have an extended power outage, that could create a problem. But UPSs will allow you to daisy chain. So, for example, if you live rural and you have a generator, it'll last long enough for you to start your generator up and then plug this into your generator. What are you doing? You knock that over, I'm gonna fuck your shit up, cat. No. Get back. Do not jump from there. No. He wants to jump off there so bad. No. Go that way. Here. Go get it. Works every time. Single printer, you'll be fine. Cyberpower APC is good. They're fine. There is another one here that's a little cheaper, but it doesn't have a display. Like this one's only $153, but you're only saving $8 and you lose the display. I'd rather have the display. Although that's only $100, and that will run an Ender 3. Why won't you go to this one? Oh, it is that one. This one here is a 1000 volt amp, 550 watt. That's only $102, and that will also run an Ender 3 no problem. I mean, you don't have a fancy display, you're going to have less runtime, but it's more than enough, and you're saving $58. So you can get that one instead, and solve that problem as well. Yeah, for a single printer, I could live without the screen to save almost $60. Now we're starting to get expensive. Let's just do a search for UPS. Here's a 600 watter for $125. So this one's a middle of the ground unit, 1000 volt amp with a display. I actually have one of these as well, apparently. So this one is 600 watt, 1000 volt amp with a display. So you save $30. Save like $33. This one's $99, and it will technically run an Ender 3 without a problem. 420 watts, that's just enough to run an Ender 3. But obviously you're not going to get that much runtime. But you save $60 and you get a display. So it just depends on what you want. Hell, theoretically this one will run in the Ender 3. 300 watts. That's theoretically enough to run an Ender 3. I think it's a 250 watt power supply. But for $13 more, you get the 700 volt amp. And it's got USB ports, which is nice. You can charge your phone. Let's see, what else do we got here? That's not going to work. There's the cyber power. printer is $75. No display or anything, but you're saving $100 almost. And 800 volt amp, 450 watts, so that will run in under 3. You know, if you need to get 3 or 4 of them, suddenly that becomes worth it. Especially if all you need is that little bit. Although I think the Line Interactive are the better ones. I think you want the Line Interactive ones. Because the non-interactive ones, the modern printers, the millisecond rating for the power supply to switch over to internal battery is enough for the printer to turn off. The printer resets. So you might want to stick with the Line Interactive ones. Whichever one you decide to get, that's the first thing you test. After you've let it charge up, yank the power plug and see if the printer keeps going. Because you want to make sure you have a Line Interactive one, otherwise the printer might reset. And that would defeat the point. That's not strong enough, 260 watts. Here's an APC one for $149. That's not bad, 1000 volt amp. No idea what that is. What sucks is I really wish I can get a 220 volt UPS. APC is a good name though. It's a good brand. And 150 is not bad. I'm seeing if there's any more that are worth looking at. I wish I can get a direct connect, 220 volt, 40 amp UPS. Even if it only ran for, 3 minutes, that'd be enough to make sure my mini split didn't get zapped. So they do make 220 volt UPSs. Here's a $109 one, 800 volt amp, 480 watt. There's a 500 watt one. The problem is I need, what is that, 30 amp circuit? I need 6 kilowatts. Although that thing almost never takes that much power. And they just don't make UPSs that powerful. At least nothing that we can afford, that's for sure. Wow, there's a 3 kilowatt one? That's a voltage transformer. Okay. Uh, 1500 volt amps, 150. Approximately 150. The first one I linked to is a 1500 volt amp for 161, 150 used. Remember, usually, not always, but usually when you get them used, the batteries are bad. That's why they're getting rid of them. So be careful. Replacing the batteries can be very expensive. Yeah, here's the Cyber Power 1500 volt amp, 900 watt, $161. I don't know. All I know is that, for example, the big lithium-ion battery packs that I have, some printers are fine, some printers are not. Whatever the millisecond switchover time is, it's enough for the printer to reset. It depends on the printer. Like my CR6SE resets. My Ender 2 doesn't. So I'm not exactly sure what the difference is. I know units like this, you know, proper normal UPSs, not a problem. They work fine. It's only a problem when you start trying to do these kind of units. You know, the battery packs. For whatever reason, they seem to be slow enough on the changeover that some of the modern 32-bit boards can't handle it. They just reset. Well, I'll be sure. I'll probably have a video posting this weekend once I get the brass inserts for the keys, so I can test, you know, make the final test. And so I'll be posting a video on that whole process, and so that'll be fun. What kind of UPS do you have that goes 4 hours? And why are you running for 4 hours? And what are you running on it that you get 4 hours? That seems like a very long time, even for a small load, because it is just a lead acid battery inside there. That seems like a really long run time. As far as a laser engraver, I don't know. I still don't have enough experience with them to really be able to tell you, yes, get this one. I don't know. I love the ComGrau, the little tiny ComGrau unit. It's portable, it's handy. You can run it off a battery pack. I love it. You're not getting 4 hours with the heat bed on. With the heat bed off, maybe, because you're only drawing 50 watts then. But with the heat bed on, you're going to be drawing 125 to 200 watts. I don't think there's 400. As a matter of fact, I know there's not 400 watt hours inside that battery. I mean, this thing only has 289 watt hours. Yeah, heat bed off, yes, that makes sense. So, but even heat bed off, that's impressive. Because 4 hours at 50 watts means you have 200 watt hours in there? I don't think so. Unless the printer draws less than 50 watts. I have heard of issues with the ComGrau as far as durability and reliability. And I don't use it enough to have gotten that point. Oh, okay. Ah, okay. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense then. Yeah, I have a big server grade UPS right there. I use it for the mini split. It'll run the mini split for like 3 minutes. But that's enough to get me through a power blip. We have very dirty power here. I'll be right back. I gotta go to the bathroom. Let me switch over to this. I gotta go bad. I'm like wiggling all over the place. Why, hello. You want some petting too? Yeah? You just swat me? Want to get your butt kicked, huh? I grabbed my phone too. I got some cards from Costco. It was only 11 bucks for a really nice set of 40 cards. So tonight and tomorrow we're gonna get all of our Christmas cards filled out and in the mail. I love sending out Christmas cards. It's fun. Yeah, Orator does good. They seem solid. Actually, I think I have the X-Tool D1 out there. That's an expensive one, like 700 bucks. I think I have that X-Tool D1. Let me see, what do I have? Let's see, laser. Yep, Make Block X-Tool D1, 60 watt. So I do have that in the box outside. So we will be playing with that at some point. And from in my personal experience, decent support as well. Hey, if anybody needs a thermal camera, let me know. I'm looking to sell one of my thermal cameras. I have 3 of them. I don't need 3 of them. So it's a true thermal camera. USB-C charging. You can take pictures. So it's an actual thermal camera. Come on. There it goes. There you go. There you go. There it is. It's hard to see on the webcam, but I found out I'm missing some insulation there. You can see I got a pretty good leak along the crown molding of the roof right there, and it looks like I'm missing insulation right there where the insulation may have dropped off. You can see where that purple area running down, that must be a beam there where some insulation fell away. So that tells me I got a temperature leak there. Anywhere else? Now here's what I'm really surprised by. I have these are ducts for the, it doesn't exist anymore, I got it removed, for the swamp cooler, the evaporative cooler that used to be on the roof of my house. These are the ducts that feed that swamp, from that swamp cooler. I'm reading heat out of them. And I don't know why. What I need to check is I need to check and see if that switches to cold at night. I think there's no insulation around those ducts because the ducts are there, so the insulation can't be there. And so I think that's the heat from the sun hitting the roof. So what we're seeing is thermal radiation from the roof being heated up from the outside, which tells me at night that will probably be cold because it'll be heat leaking out of the house. So I've got to check that. It might be worth stuffing some insulation in those ducts to fill them up to improve the insulation a little bit. Anywhere else? Yeah, that corner over there's got a pretty nasty leak. over there in the kitchen. I got a pretty nasty leak over there in the kitchen. So that's something else I'm going to want to look at. Try to find all these leaks. And interestingly enough, this side of the house looks pretty good. You can see the heat from the cat. There's kitty heat. There's the kitty laying in the bed. You can see he's a hot source. Yeah, it's a true thermal unit, like the FLIR units. And what does this cost? $400. So $400 to $450 on Amazon. And so if somebody wants one, $300, they can have one. Plus shipping. That'd be like $7 flat rate. Wrap it up in a flat rate box. But it's USB-C charging, which I love, and you can also plug that into your computer and download the pictures. And, does this have Wi-Fi? This has Wi-Fi as well. So you can install an app on your phone, and you can connect this to your phone and use your phone screen to see and record what's happening on this. So that's actually pretty cool too. So if anybody wants one, let me know. I got 3 of them, so I'm keeping the other 2. Where's the other one? There we go. There we go. I got 3 of them, so I don't need 3. So let's call it $310 including shipping. Oh, nice for looking for hot spots. I use them to check my trailer. So like every few months, 6 months or so, I'll take it. If I haven't taken a trailer out for a while, I'll grab one of them and take it with me. And after I'm done my trip, I'll hit the wheels with the camera, see if the bearings are heating up, because it'll be pretty obvious if they are. $310 shipped. That's $100 off. They're $400 on Amazon. So, I need to sell a couple things. I gotta pay some bills, and I want to get that cat feeder for Noel. It's $172 for that cat feeder, but it uses his chip that's in his neck to open a door, so only he can get to the food, and that will stop Ender from eating all of his food. Because I'm worried about him getting skinny. Because Ender's a pig. He'll shove him right out of the way and take his food. A little pig. And of course, if I put 2 bowls down, he wants his bowl. They both have the same thing in it, but he wants his bowl first. It's like, well, I know I can eat this bowl, so I want to eat that bowl. Greedy little bastard. What are you gonna do? I keep these bottles empty because they weigh nothing. They're very, very light. Even the caps have like no mass to them. And I've gotten good enough to where I could beat him right in the head with the bottle. I'll see him going over to Noel's bowl, and I'll just go, and he'll jump about 2 foot in the air and take off. Like, that's right, motherfucker, I saw you. Damn cat. And in the springtime, I'm hoping to build a catio for the cats. Are you going to sit there and try to force him out of that bed? I will mess you up. Yeah, that's right. He'll sit there and start messing with Nolan in bed to force him out so he can take the spot. Freaking bully. You hear about that story where there sometimes wealthier people will do a tip gimmick where they will have a big party and they'll each put down $100 to give to the wait staff. So they called ahead to find out what the tipping policy was and make sure it was all okay and everything. And of course, it's a normal place where the server keeps the tip. Of course, that's the way it is in most places. And she got a $4,400 tip. Now, of course, 2 of them were serving that table, so she was going to split the tip with the other person, so $2,200 each, since they were both serving the 40 people that were there. And the restaurant said that you can't have the tip. We're keeping it and we're splitting it with everybody. Christmas gift for everybody. And so she told the patrons what was happening, that she's not allowed to keep the tip, that the house is keeping the tip and splitting it amongst everybody. The patron got pissed off, understandably, went and said, nope, I want my money back. And so they refunded him the $4,400 tip, and he went and gave her cash outside, which she, of course, split with the other waitress. Restaurant found out, lost their shit, and fired her. That's fucked up. I mean, that's just... I hope that place goes out of business. Yeah, I hope they go out of business. Because they're getting a lot of bad press right now. The greed is just remarkable. It's just a remarkable amount of greed. Yeah. Well, it's just for all the server staff, right? Yeah, the owner's the cook. So he was getting a cut. Yeah. Oh, man. Abject greed. And don't even get me started about people getting pissed off at their food deliveries being left behind to languish because there's no tip. Yeah, people getting pissed off about that because they don't leave a tip, and so DoorDash and Uber Eats and other drivers, well, they don't take those orders. And people get pissed off about it. I was like, you're getting pissed off at the one person who can't do anything about it. Like, you're literally getting pissed off at the one person who has no control. I was like, blame your employer for lobbying the government to count tips as income, which it's not. Blame your government for accepting that explanation because now they get to tax it, so now it's a conspiracy. And then blame them both for furthering that system and permitting the employer to pay the employee less because they're getting tips that they conspired together to count as income when it's not. And then on top of that, you try to screw them over even more by declaring them a 1099 independent contractor so you can pay them even less. Like, really? Okay, but if you were if you were commissioned to print one of these for somebody, someone commissioned you to print one of these, and you said, okay, let me figure out what it costs me and what my profit margin is, and I'll get back to you. And let's say you figure out that your cost to print this is $20. So you say, okay, give me $30. So $20 in materials and machine time and whatnot, and $10 in, it'd be more than that, but I'm just making up numbers, okay? And someone came back to you and said, I'll give you 15. Would you take it? I mean, your cost is 20. Would you take it for 15? Well, no. You're not even equaling your cost. You're losing money. You're losing $5 because you're going to have to spend $20 to make the damn thing. So not only are you not making profit, but you're supposed to eat some of the cost? No. Yet that's what we expect these delivery drivers to do. Because they have to pay for their cars. Those cars cost 55 cents a mile. It's not gas. It's depreciation. It's wear and tear. It's maintenance. It's materials and supplies, time and labor. When you're using a car for business, you have to amortize those costs over the lifespan of the car. I mean, in 3 years, you're probably going to need a new transmission. That's going to be $4,500. You've got to amortize that $4,500 over the entire lifespan of the car. You got to amortize all the expenses of that car over its entire lifetime, which is why businesses love it when they can make you use your own car, because then they don't have to pay those costs, even though legally they're supposed to. So, they declare them an independent contractor so they can screw them even more and pay them even less. But here's the thing. In order to legitimately claim them as a 1099, you have to at least pretend they're a 1099. Which means they can choose to take a delivery or not take a delivery. Just like you would correctly say, no thank you, I can't make that for you for $15. Well, if you've got to drive and order, 20 miles, and you're going to make only enough to cover 10 miles of the trip, well, you're not going to take the trip. You're going to lose money. You're not going to make money, you're going to lose it. You see, they depend on you not noticing it. That's the danger of gig work. Can I make you a key? What kind of key? If you're talking about this kind of key, yes. If this actual style of key, yeah, I can make you one, but you would have to trust me with a photograph of your key. If you're willing to trust me with a photograph of your key, then yeah, I can make you one. This is my car key. So my car key uses this kind of a key. Oh yeah, we could put like a foot-shaped key fob on it. That's easy enough to do. Now I would just, take a foot shape and put the hole that I need in it, and it would stick it in there, and then you would have a foot-shaped key fob. That'd be easy to do. So these independent contractors are doing what any business would do. They're taking the orders that are profitable and they're leaving behind the orders that are not profitable. I mean, you have a bidding system here, and you bid too low. Oh, they're an employee. That's their job. They're supposed to take the order. Okay, then you go to the restaurant and you buy the order. Because now those employees are actually being paid. These DoorDash drivers aren't actually being paid. Without a tip of a minimum amount, they literally don't make any money. So, of course, if the order doesn't come with a tip, they're not going to take it. And don't tell me, oh, I'm going to tip in cash, because the number of times that, tip in cash and you get there and the guy gives you a quarter or nothing. I had a lady hand me a whole bag of change. I said, oh, your tip's inside. I go to my car, I count it out. She's short 13 cents. So not only did she not tip me, she shorted me 13 cents. I went back and knocked on her door and I said, you're short 13 cents. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, you're 13 cents short. She's like, you came back for 13 cents? Really? I was like, what? I'm supposed to pay for your food, lady? I'm here to earn a living, not pay for your food. Hey, if you don't want to tip me, you don't have to tip me. That's optional. But you got to pay for the order. I mean, she was just hoping you wouldn't count it. Now, what happens is lot of this stuff is done as gig work. So you've got a regular job, you do your 9 to 5, and then on your off time, you do this gig work for a little extra cash. Now the problem is, unless you live in a city with surge, or a city with lots of restaurants and lots of local deliveries, you're not making any money. But because you do it so little, you don't realize you're not making any money. You don't realize you had to replace your transmission a year earlier than you would have normally, because you don't make the connection to the transmission replacement 3 years from now to the delivery work you did 3 years ago. You don't make that connection. But during the pandemic, people started doing this work full time, and they started doing their taxes full time, and they started analyzing their costs full time. And these people began to realize, holy shit, I'm actually not making any money. I'm paying money to do this job. The food delivery service is not viable. It is not a viable business as a third party. A pizza shop can do it because a pizza shop can control their costs. A pizza shop can build the cost into their product. So if the cost of insuring those drivers goes up a little bit, they can raise the cost of their pizza a little bit, or they can eat it in their margins. But if you're DoorDash delivering McDonald's, well, you can't negotiate the price of the food at McDonald's. So you can't amortize any of the cost of your service in the cost of the food. You have to tack on your costs as an additional charge. Well, the problem is, now you have the additional costs of a car, but you're not paying for the car. The driver's paying for the car, and you're not paying the driver enough to maintain the car. So you're cheating. You basically have butler service. Do you know what a butler makes? Typically around $80,000 a year, because that person is your full-time butler. He is hand delivering stuff for you, so you have to pay for all the costs associated with that. Well, this gig work service cheats and hides the cost of butler service and makes the driver pay for it. And the drivers who don't do it that often don't realize they're paying for it. Now they do. And now they're like, what the fuck? And now if DoorDash provided the car, you're just owed a wage, because DoorDash is handling the car, they're handling the insurance, they're handling the maintenance and the repairs on the car, they're handling all that costs. And but when they slough those costs onto you, you need to factor in those costs to do that job. Well, for the past year, a lot of people started factoring in those costs, and they started realizing they're not making any money. And sure, you got the exceptions here or there who make a lot of money, but those are rare. Those are very, very rare. And a motorcycle has even higher costs. Motorcycle is expensive. You ever price tires on a motorcycle? See how long those tires last? And then good luck when you get into an accident, because it's inevitable. You deliver long enough, you're going to get into an accident. Multiple accidents. I was involved in 3 accidents in 5 years that I delivered pizza. None of them were my fault. All of them were other people hitting me. Do that on a motorcycle. See what your hospital bill is, especially in the U.S. Have fun with that. You know why? You know why the pizza shop wants you to call immediately if you get into an accident? Do you know why? So they can clock you out immediately, so now you're not on company time. It's the only reason why they want you to call in immediately, so they can clock you out. And try to absolve themselves of responsibility. Not kidding. That's why. It's such a scam. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. Motorcycles are expensive to maintain. Well, a motorcycle for your day-to-day driving, not so bad. But you have to remember, when you're delivering, you're going to be putting anywhere from 3 to 10 times the miles on that vehicle as you would normally. If you would normally drive 10,000 miles a year, now you're going to drive 30 or 40,000 miles a year. So you're going to put 4 years of wear and tear on that vehicle in 1 year. And on top of that, as a pizza delivery driver, I had to carry commercial auto insurance. You know, that's an extra, what did that cost me? I was paying I went from $900 a year to $2,400 a year. So that cost me an extra $1,500 a year just to have commercial auto coverage. Because guess what happens if I, as a homeowner, get into an accident on a personal policy while conducting commercial business? The insurance company goes, oh, by the way, Chris, yeah, we're not covering the accident. Good luck. You were using commercial activities on a personal policy. I've seen it happen. My sister's boyfriend, now husband, he got into an accident, and it wasn't even his fault, but you know, the cop believed the white soccer mom in a $50,000 SUV over the black kid delivering pizza in a $700 beat up Mitsubishi Galant. He was in the turning lane, and she rammed her way into it to get in front of him. For whatever reason, she just didn't care. And she said he hit her. And his insurance company said, we're not covering. You were delivering pizza. That's commercial activity. And you have a personal policy. You have no insurance. The civil judgment, $25,400. He can never own a house. I have to warn my sister. Every time she buys something big, I was like, make sure it's not in his name. I was like, if you put it in his name, they will find out about it, and they will put a lien on it for that debt that he owes, for that civil judgment. I was like, so he can never put a car in his name, and he can never put a house in his name. And so I own a house, so I have to make sure I'm covered, or they'll take my house. And so that cost me an extra $1,500 a year. You know, that alone is, if I did 30,000 miles for the delivery, what was that? 15. That's 5 cents per mile just for insurance. I mean, actually, that's not for insurance. That's for the extra for commercial insurance. I have to pay 5 cents extra per mile just for the commercial coverage protection. So if I drive 100 miles today, which is totally reasonable, that's $5. So my first $5 tip goes right to the insurance company. And that's before I've paid the payment on the car, before I've done maintenance on the car, before I put electricity or fuel in the car. That's just for the commercial insurance coverage. $5 a day. If I drive 100 miles. Usually I drove over that. But yeah, it's yes and no. Insurance is necessary. Insurance does make sense. The problem is we've made insurance mandatory but left it privatized. And as a result, we get screwed. I don't have a problem with the government. Hey, 3D Medic! I don't have a problem with the government mandating I have something. I don't have a problem with that. But then the government needs to provide it. The government needs to provide that coverage. This way, the insurance company can go, oh, we can charge you anything we want because you have to have it or you go to jail. Hello? But, what are you going to do? And you know my solution. We eat them. You eat enough of them, problems get fixed quick. Just eat people. Hey, do you guys mind if we switch streams over to my other channel? I got to boost my watch time on my other channel. Do you mind if we switch over to that? Hello, Basta Creator. Okay, I'm going to end this, and then I'm going to start a new stream on lifeofnarise.com. So go to lifeofnarise.com. That is lifeofnarise.com. Sweet! Jump over to lifeofnarise.com. We're going to start the stream again over there. So I will see you guys in about 2 minutes.